Hey everybody, it's Kim, and we are continuing on with our series all about centerpieces. So, I love making centerpieces. Centerpieces are a really good seller for me in my shop, but it's taken a lot of trial and error to learn what to use for what kind of base that you're using. So, for this kind of base, it's a really rough texture. So, floral foam is going to be great for this base. If you have a centerpiece that has a really smooth texture, like the one that I showed in our first video, you are going to want to use gaps and cracks because it's going to stick to the inside of this container. If you use E6000 or hot glue, your floral foam is going to pop right out because it's not going to give it a really secure stick. So, but since this is a very rough texture, our E6000 and our hot glue is going to work perfect for this centerpiece. So what I'm going to do is I have my block of foam. I'm just going to kind of put it in here and measure about where I need to cut it so that it fits in there perfectly. So we're going to go about right here. Yes, I'm using a knife. Just be very careful when you're using a knife to cut your foam. I believe they do make knives that you can use to cut your foam that won't cut you. But I don't have one of those, so I'm using a regular kitchen knife. All right, so that's about the perfect size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to get my E6000. Now this lid definitely takes some finesse. And sometimes I have to get out my pliers to get it going. There we go. Okay. All right. So I'm going to take my E6000 and I'm going to go along the edges. And in the center. I'm going to get a pretty good coat on here. Definitely want to get those edges. Okay. And then after I put on the E6000, I'm going to go where I don't have the E6000 and I'm going to put hot glue so that the combination of the two is going to give me a really good hold. Okay. And then I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to apply some pressure. I'm going to keep some pressure applied for just a few seconds. Now I like to let these sit for about, I don't know, 24 hours or so before I start designing with it, just so I can make sure that it has a really good hold. It takes about 24 hours for the E6000 to dry, though the hot glue will help it adhere instantly. I just like to make sure that it's not going to start coming apart. So as you can see, it's already sticking on there. I'm lifting up by the foam. So it's already stuck pretty good. Once you get your floral foam in there, you're going to want to take some moss, because we're going to want to cover that foam. And don't be surprised if you don't find weird little pieces of stuff in your moss when you buy it at the store. So we're just going to take some of this moss, Like that is like a stick. Can't use that. So is that. And we're just going to cover it with some moss. Now you can use the green. There is a brown. You can also use that. And then once you get your moss, you're going to put some U-pins in there. These are U-pins. You can buy them at any craft store, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Walmart. And that's just going to help secure that moss to the foam. I do not put hot glue on my moss, because then you're going to create sort of a barrier and it's going to make it really hard. That hot glue will become hard, and you're going to have a little bit more trouble getting your picks and sprays to stick in there. So we're just going to get this all over, spread it out, let it go over the sides. Put another U-pin in here. Go around the side right here. Sort of spread that out. Now you don't have to have a really, really thick coating of this, because your picks and sprays are going to cover 90% of this foam. So I just like to make sure there's no really, really big green areas poking through. I'm going to stick that in. All right, and once you have your moss on there, you can let this sit and let that E6000 and that hot glue cure. And then you will be ready to start designing on it. So if you like this video, please subscribe. We are going to go from the base to putting a center, like whatever you're going to use for your centerpiece, whatever attachment. You can use Ferrosilk hearts, you can use Ferrosilk jewels, you can use pretty much anything. So we're going to go clear through the process, and I'm really excited for this series. I love doing centerpieces, so I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.